is now 6:30. We will begin the special council meeting. A couple rules. You'll be invited by myself to speak. We're going to ask those that are speaking to please limit your time to allow others to speak well, and that you maintain respectful behavior towards one another. Please provide supporting evidence for claims that you may make, and council and mayor will engage in discussion with you regarding your desired topic. And if you have an issue, please suggest a solution.
Do roll call.
Sure. Yeah.
Mindy Galloway. Here. Adam Grass.
Here.
Larry Lambert.
Here.
Bob Porter.
Here.
Mayor Sue Hammond. All accounted for except Mayor Sue Hammond.
No one online?
I do have another person. Is there anybody on Zoom that is attending that would like to speak? You can turn your audio on to let me know, or raise your hand if you know how to raise your hand. I have a couple people on here besides council. Nobody is raising their hand at this time. Nobody is unmuting. Still nobody wanting to speak at this time?
I find it hard to speak with this thing echoing in my ear. You start talking, I can hear myself talking about a second behind what I'm actually saying. Throws me off.
Okay, can't stand it. Is anybody ready for spring cleaning?
No. Or any kind of cleaning.
Good old March is gonna force us to break those branches.
Yeah.
It got pretty windy today.
It was.
Blew my grill over.
Felt like winter again, which it's still early to feel spring, but. So I guess I can share the article that the Argus wrote about municipalities having stimulus that is coming down the line. I was able to confirm with some articles that Biden did sign that and is trickling down, but we have no details. The estimate amount right now is 206,000 and some more. I think it's 684 or something like that. But nothing's clear yet. So as we learn, we'll pass that information around of what will happen at a local government level. But it's happening all across. It's a federal stimulus, just like you got as a personal level. It's now going trickling down at a government level.
Talking a bunch tonight.
I'm sorry?
So we're talking a bunch tonight.
I bought my last prom dress last night.
Oh,
Did you cry? I didn't. I did not cry. She's my baby, and I didn't cry. I'll probably cry when she's all dressed up.
uh-huh.
4 stores later, we found the perfect one.
That's a lot of stores.
Are they having, is this set here?
My girls go to Morris,
More, are they having?
and they've set a date. And they've also set 3 other dates,
Okay.
as things are working out right now. So,
Do you know if there's been any interest in anyone serving on council?
if there is, Sue hasn't told me. I don't know who she's been in communication with or not. I only know of one person that asked to talk to her about it. I don't know if there is more. Did you know somebody?
No.
Okay.
I've asked a couple people, but they said no.
No. It's not that bad.
No.
Not discussion chickens anymore, so.
Right.
Say it too loudly. I was at a bit that was going with therapy chickens.
Well, that's the thing, is it wasn't comical, they were dead serious, so it was,
Yeah, well,
It's kind of amazing that there's,
well, I could relate to the chicken, because we had roaming chickens when we were in the township, and they do get to know you if you let them roam.
any animal.
I mean, they're dumb, but they still, they
Right.
create that
You can
bond
with any
with
animal.
them. I mean, I'd come home and they'd run up to see me and all that kind of stuff. I understood that, but I sure did learn a lot. Because there's leader animals and what the government actually, so, dog are leader dogs, and
Mhm.
do you know what another animal is that the government recognizes?
I want to say peacocks.
Miniature
Wasn't there-
horses.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
right, that's right, miniature horses.
Miniature
Yeah.
horses, I never knew that. And those are the type that, for blind or different things like
Yeah.
that. And then there's the emotional support animals, and that's a different level.
That's
But they're
what I-
actually allowed in a lot of public places,
Mhm.
and it is recognized.
Well, working in the vet clinic, I can't tell you how many people I had at my desk embarrassed that they were forking over hundreds of dollars to fix their goldfish.
Oh, wow.
Things like that. It's like, hey, you can bond with anything. If you've got that bond, then Yeah, I can relate to that.
Oh yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
My beardy, when it's warm out, goes everywhere, like right on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I relate to chicken in one way.
We did meat chickens for a while. I told the girls, I said, don't, they're short-lived, don't start naming them.
I know, I know.
That's a lovely group tonight.
We are. Take a picture, Deanna.
Alrighty.
Hey, what?
You can move the chairs any way you would like.
Why if I would sit up there with you guys?
Take Jim's out in the hall.
There's empty spots.
I don't want him getting out of order.
That never happened.
Well, when I get up to pray, I'm gonna take this off because I'm not gonna be on camera on TV doing this.
Okay.
It is cool, isn't it?
Come these seats aren't warm.
Whoa.
If you got
It's
here too
supposed to
late.
be warm in here.
You got here too late.
Do you want me to turn the heat up?
Do what?
Do you want me to turn the heat up?
No, you don't have to on my part, no.
Well, if you're cold, I will.
He's fine.
Just losing a little bit of my heat from my body through this seat is all.
Well, if you want to sit so far away from your
Boom,
wife,
boom,
maybe she'd warm you up.
Boom boom Mancini.
Oh my god.
You hear me?
I didn't hear you.
I
You
said
better
maybe if you
behave
weren't
tonight.
sitting so far away from your wife, she'd warm you up a little bit.
She can't reach me.
That's my point.
Yeah, I was looking at us like,
That might be wisdom, I don't know.
so how's everybody doing? Good?
Good. How about you?
Excellent. Yeah. Life's good. Yeah,
And getting better every day.
sure.
Although with spring break, I don't know, we might be
When's
bubbling
that-
up again.
When's that start?
I don't know, it's coming. Is it?
Yeah.
Is the
Isn't it
colleges?
usually the week before Easter or after? Spring break, I don't know.
They move it around so much, I don't know.
They do, they do.
See, our kids are the last week, so it's partial March, April.
Dylan, you would know, what company redid these floors? Wasn't it somebody in Durand? I think I was at the meeting when you guys were discussing it.
Started with the K, I would have to look it up. But no, they're pretty, I thought they were pretty local, but I can get that for you, quick reference. I have it on my computer, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I was gonna say, our floors are like this in the house. We got bird's eye maple throughout our house. The old floors. Bessie McQueen used to own our house years ago.
Is that right?
Don't start
Huh.
over.
Oh, war. Fix them, fix our house.
I told you you could build a home, right?
Don't start a war.
Where would we go?
Oh, boy. I'll behave at 7:00.
Tonight, no, he won't.
I don't see that happening.
Better than that.
I got 10 more minutes. She did own it, didn't she?
And did she live in it
Huh?
or just own it?
She owned it
She-
at one time.
Owned it at one time. When we paid the house off, we got the title deed and the whole thing. Yeah, and you could see who owned it throughout the years,
Yeah.
and she did own it.
Okay.
Um, The front section of our house, you guys remember Don Darling, you do?
Yeah.
Old Don Darling? He told us the front section of our house, him and some other guys used a horse-drawn wagon to pull it up there. It used to sit by the elementary school up there. And they, with a horse-drawn wagon, they come up the hill to the front part of the house. Isn't that something?
They roll it with horses
Yeah.
from elementary. Did you tell them that? I didn't hear you. Did you tell a story or what? I don't want to repeat it.
It's all right, it's all right.
There's an echo going.
We can repeat it our age. We don't care.
Can't tell if everybody's laughing or they're frowning.
I think you're people.
You gotta start moving a little bit when you laugh. So I can tell. I don't want to make you mad.
It's too late.
Oh, my temperature's gone up now, so I took the hat off.
I shut that blind.
Oh, the sun, yeah. So this is it for council members? Can you still have a meeting?
Yep. Quorum of 4.
Jim said he wanted to be a council member.
I don't think so.
We'll have to vote tonight. I'm not going to here during special session.
Oh, come on, let me swear at you, Jim.
You'll try it for at least a couple weeks, Jim. You can come in and start a couple fights and then resign.
There you go.
One minute.
Yeah.
Is that clock off?
No, we got a special meeting.
Yeah, so you're being recorded.
Break now.
Yeah, we got all Jim on the camera.
You finally got your break and show.
That's what goes on at the city council.
Yeah.
This might encourage people to want to come in and hang out.
We were getting really bored till you came in.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
up quiet.
Oh, here we go. You ready to call it?
Time is 6:55, and now I'll close the special meeting. I'd like to welcome out tonight's invocation speaker, Deanna Shaw from Shaftesbury Bible. So we're going to invite Deanna to pray tonight.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Deanna.
Thank you, Pastor. Can we all bow our heads? Thank you, Lord, for this evening and the time to get together and consider the business of the city and get special things done tonight. I want to bring recognition to the mayor tonight. Though she's not here, we honor her. We also honor the council members and the ladies that work in the office down there. Special blessing to them girls and to the city workers and especially our police officers, Father. Thank you that they protect us. Father, we lift them up in prayer for their protection. We ask you for your blessing upon this meeting tonight, Father, that we get things done correctly and orderly, and we might not always agree on everything, but unity is the desire here tonight. And God bless this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, the time is now 7 p.m. We call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Perry City Council. Ask council to stand and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll ask the clerk for the roll call.
Mindy Gallavy. Here. Adam Grass.
Here.
Larry Lambert.
Here.
Bob Porter.
Here.
Mayor Sue Hammond. All is accounted for except Mayor Sue Hammond.
The clerk has prepared the agenda. You have that before you. We ask for your consent and approval of the agenda.
Move the agenda be adopted as printed.
Second.
All in favor? Let it be known by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ask for the reading and approval of the minutes.
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the reading, and approve the minutes from the March 4th, 2021 regular meeting.
Second.
We have Porter moves, Lambert seconds. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we have our first regularly scheduled period of time for public comment. Council rules sets that at 3 minutes at this time, and so if we have anybody from the public who would like to make a comment, you are welcome to do so at this time. No one in public. Do we have anybody online, Devin?
Is there anybody online that would like to speak? You can either raise your hand or take your audio off to speak.
Okay, we shall move to communications. Do we have any communications, Devin?
Yes, I do. Mayor asked me to pass on this communication. Mayor Sue Hammond, I won't be able to sit on the historical committee at this time. I feel I need to focus on the Parks Committee. There is a lot of work to do with the parks. Thank you for your understanding. Bob Porter, council member. And then I just want to make sure, yesterday there was flyers made for you all. You should have a citywide yard sale flyer. You should have a citywide cleanup. And then at this time on the go-ahead events, you should have an event page for this time. And that's all I have for correspondence.
Okay. I have a brief mayor report. Mayor Hammond asked me to read this for the public as a call. Councilman Terry Wood served on the city council for several years, and we had Councilman Elliott who served for some time as well. Both of them have resigned for reasons, various reasons, and so at this time the council is in the process of fulfilling these empty council seats, and it is up to the mayor to appoint someone to a partial term according to our charter. And so the requirements for city council members are, one, that council members are required to be an elector of the city, which means they're registered in the city of Perry to vote, live in the city. Council members are required to attend council meetings on the first and third Thursdays of each month and serve on 4 standing committees, which may be working on a project or standing idle at the time. Be knowledgeable on city ordinances, on finance and council policies and procedures which are available. The Perry City Council rules and procedures state that council members shall conduct themselves in a manner consistent with the dignity and decorum of the office, and they shall act in a manner in which accords respect to the public, staff members, the mayor, and fellow council members. And so if you are interested in serving on the Perry City Council, I want to encourage you to contact Mayor Hammond at City Hall. You can get the information off the city website as well as the email. And so she's looking to fill those positions. And so council, if you know someone who is interested, I would encourage you to bring them, raise the issue with Mayor Hammond. At this time, do we have any committee reports? Other than me.
I'll just give a brief update on behalf of the Business Affairs and Technology Committee. We did have a meeting with city staff and are proceeding to make some enhancements, as I've talked before, to our city website at this point in time. Some of those changes are already in place. I also had a discussion with the committee relative to an auxiliary means of communication that we'll talk about, or I'd like to talk about this evening under additional business, just to get the council's input in terms of whether we can proceed or not, recognizing not everyone goes to routinely or has access to our city website. So we agreed previously that we try to come up with some alternate communication means. So continued work in progress.
Appreciate your work on that, Larry. Update from the Finance Ordinance Committee. You have a new motion that'll be in, or an official motion that'll be in front of you tonight for the updating of the sign ordinance. We haven't moved any further on the options to what to do about those that are in violation of zoning ordinances. So we haven't dealt with that just yet, so they'll be coming in the near future. So nothing other than that to report. Any other committee reports? If not, at this time, we'll move on to the presentation and approval of the bills.
I may move that we approve the bills as presented and that payment be authorized.
Second.
The Lambert motions to pay the bills, Porter seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
may I just ask, do we have 3 signatures tonight? Did that get around okay?
Yeah, that's right here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, well, it is time for old business. And so first item of old business is discussion of the creation of the DDA. Does anybody have anything to say? What is council's pleasure on this matter?
You know whether there's been any feedback yet from Mr. Marquee relative to the Planning Commission's position? I know that he did send out an email to all of us that are on the Planning Commission asking for feedback, but I wasn't certain whether he'd completed receipt of all of that yet or not.
I have not heard any official response from Mr. Marquee or Mayor Hammond. Devin, that's my understanding. Are you aware of any other additional information?
I have not been told of anything moving forward.
Okay.
So what shall we do? Leave it as no action taken?
I move that we leave it at no action taken.
Porter moves, we leave it no action taken. Do we have a second?
Second.
Gal will be seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll need the same thing for a possible workshop for DDA.
Yes. Yeah, move second.
Move.
We gotta move the
Yeah.
no action. I move that we have no action taken.
Porter
workshop.
moves. Need a second.
I'll second.
Gal will be seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Possible approval for CIB to show DDA estimates of tax capture of DDA. No action taken, or what's your pleasure?
No action taken pending the outcome of the 2 prior agenda items.
Is that a motion, Larry?
Yes.
Okay. Moved by Lambert to leave as no action taken. I need a second.
I'll second.
Second by Galbavy. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is discussion of zoning violation recommendation from Finance and Ordinance. Report that, just what I was just speaking on. At this time, we have not put that together. There's some various things to consider, and so I haven't been able to get a meeting together, and that's not, just to be clear, from a result of my co-laborers in this. That's been my issue, so I appreciate your guys' willingness to be available and patient with me. So thank you for that. So I'm going to move that we leave that as no action taken, and that's my motion, so I can do that. So do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Grass, second by Lambert, to leave the zoning violation recommendation as planned. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item up for discussion is the discussion of the 2021 city events. You should have an item in your packet that discusses some of those that are consider, or ones that would be suggested to be considered for possible execution or carrying those out. It sounded like perhaps there was some expectation things might be a little bit more normal by the 4th of July, and so I think the leaning of this was going towards, maybe starting towards National Night Out, but whatever your guys' pleasure.
I will note National Night Out is by the police department, and if you would want to discuss that one, wait one more meeting, then you would have the chief here. That's my only recommendation. And then the September Perry Fest, at this point, Dory has made communication with the mayor. And due to the car show itself is usually several months of getting entries, you want to share what the mayor had said about the car show, what you are in process of doing?
She just gave me the go-ahead. The car show and motorcycle show are a combined event, and because of the amount of promotion that's done on it statewide, it's already began. So she said go ahead for it. I mean, we've already got people signed up, so that will be in September, the third weekend of September, third Saturday.
What is council's pleasure on the matter? You guys want to just leave it on the agenda for further discussion? Do you want to move forward with getting some of this stuff planned, or how do you want to proceed?
You want to put this list together, at least kind of a thought starter from what we had previously had in the city at various years. Certainly not an all-inclusive list. I know that Bob with the Parks and Rec group are working on some activities. I'd suggest that we keep it on the agenda. We are going forward with the garage sale, with the citywide cleanup. So we've got some activities going, and I'd like to look, maybe have some further discussion once the Park and Rec committee's had an opportunity to meet again, to see whether or not there's any summertime activity that we might be able to build around that isn't necessarily included on this list. And we could also talk to the chief next time when he's in, whether or not there's any appetite for the National Night Out activity this year.
I know I'm Parks and Rec or Parks and Property are planning nothing before 4th of July, just to be safe.
Okay.
So I think should be okay after the 4th of July, so Perry Fest should be fine. That's my opinion.
Okay. So just, go ahead.
We'll know better too, where COVID stands. We'll wait a little longer
Yeah.
to decide.
It was just on an understanding, we had asked the mayor whether this continue to be an ongoing item at almost every meeting, so that, because every week is another progress in knowledge. If you choose not to, that's fine, but this was something that we purposely put in front of the mayor of, just because there was progress at that last meeting, should this be a continuing every meeting? Short discussion, if there's nothing, there's nothing, but so that it doesn't get dropped, being that we're in limbo with COVID restrictions. So it's up to you guys on how you want to follow through on that.
I'd recommend that we keep it on future agendas, just to keep it in front of us for a short discussion. Is there anything new that we want to consider adding?
So is that a motion, Mr. Lambert? You gonna put that in motion, Larry, or how do you want to do it?
Motion, if we need a motion, to just keep it as an agenda item,
You leave it, no action taken?
with no action, further action taken today.
Yeah, you can put it as discussion and just have the discussion on there, and I can put it on as an agenda item without doing no action. The no action just automatically is a given, you're right, to go to the next meeting, so.
Okay.
So I was gonna report about the bike show and the car show, and follow up with the chief for the next meeting, and I'll put it on the next meeting, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. All right, we are entering into new business, and the first item of business is possible approval of the arborist service. And so some of you may have gotten an email for this. There was a discussion about possibly removing some of the large trees around the McQueen house. Bob had brought up the idea of having an arborist to come in and take a look at those trees to see if that is necessary. And so Bob, do you have anything you want to share with that, or?
Well, I did forward the email, I'm assuming everyone got it. I felt that it was pretty reasonable, it's roughly $200. He'll assess the trees and give a formal written report of those and his recommendations, so that we can know if he recommends to take them down, if there's treatment, however we can do that to try to save the trees. He may say cut them down, he may say, oh, do this. That's why I wanted an expert to do it. Excuse me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Do you have any idea, Bob, what his time frame would be, that he'd be able to do it if we were to approve the funds for it?
He kind of leaned towards any time, but I told him I would let him know as soon as we were done with our meeting today if it was approved or not.
Okay, so
And then I
let's,
would arrange the time, because I want to meet him there, so I just have to schedule it, be equal, convenience for both of us, so. If possible, I'll meet him there.
in a fairly short or reasonable time frame then?
Yes, I would say he's retired from MSU, so it's not like he's, busy. I'm sure he's busy, but he's not have projects every single day.
I move that we approve the service of the plant doctor to assess trees located on the McQueen House property and authorize payment of services for an amount not to exceed $200.
Second. Moved by Lambert, seconded by Grass, that we move forward with the arborist services. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the possible approval of reimbursement to the Historical Society for the repairs that brought up. This is an item that I brought to the agenda. I'll tell you what it is. I know many of you may be wondering what my perspective on this is. Now, there was several discussions with the Historical Society in regards to the care of the McQueen home. When we left, the last of my participation in those and where it was left at was that the 1974 agreement was intact and that was what would be followed. And so, while it may seem like there's some inconsistency for me, my position on it is going to be, if that's what we've agreed to with the Historical Society, that's what we need to hold to. And if there is movement on their end that they want that altered, then they need to officially alter it. But until that happens, that's the agreement we have. Now, that being said, my reason for bringing this in front of us is my understanding, and Mr. Roback can correct me if I'm wrong, is that part of that, or at least if not all of it, of the damage that's being replaced there was a result of the roof not being fixed. That's my understanding.
We're basing most of the damage on the humidity caused by the leaking roofs. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, and so that being said, in that agreement, we're responsible for the structure. If there's something damaged in the home that was a result of the city's failure to replace the roof, then in my opinion, I think we're responsible for that. That's something that we should have to cover. Because if there's a leak in the roof, we didn't move on it quick enough, it damaged the ceiling, part of our agreement is to upkeep the outside structure such as the foundation, while their job is to restore the home. So if the agreement is, that that's the agreement, my opinion is that we're responsible for that. Now, that being said, I think we should take care of it. Because that's part of our agreement.
Bill, you mind if I ask you a question? Is this all the ceiling, including I don't know where the leak was. Is it this kitchen as well, or just the two main rooms?
The parlor leaked extensively.
Over that window, right?
Over the window, and caused the humidity levels to get so high in the home that the main living room ceiling shows some deterioration, and
Yeah.
all of the wallpaper that was on the ceiling is completely gone. And then the kitchen ceiling, it was wet enough in there, there's no wallpaper on it, but it's just all cracked. Because once I got the humidity level down, got the home dried out a little bit, things let loose. But we had we had windows that are still stuck shut because the humidity was so high.
I agree with Adam. My only hesitation or questioning is just the The front rooms definitely, they leaked, that's where the leak was.
That's correct.
Very
Yeah.
close to that.
That's why it's a two-part bid.
Right.
There's the living room and the parlor in the front, and then the kitchen ceiling. That's why it's on two different
And I'm not an expert by any means, you know, I can't, I don't know if it was connected or not.
We based our assessment of the home on the amount of moisture and the damage that had been done, not only to the ceilings, but the wallpaper, the plaster, and some of the windowsills peeled very badly because, you know, it was so humid in there, water stood on the windowsills in multiple places.
Right.
So, I can't in honesty tell you that the humidity level destroyed the kitchen ceiling, but I can tell you that it's severely damaged, and we'll have the contractor in there to do that work. And he said, wow, one of the folks that came and looked said, wow, it must have been very wet to get it like that. And I said, well, we had tubs in there catching the water on the floor.
Yeah, my suggestion to council is this, is the current agreement that we have, and I think everybody here, we want to uphold to our agreement now. I know there's lots of passionate feelings about this, and I think the council has too many things to do to be divided over this issue. Now, I'll be real honest with you, I'm going to be pretty adamant that they uphold the end of that agreement. I mean, there's not going to be, because that's what we've agreed to. Now, that being said, if the council desires there to be a large expenditure of restoring that home, I'm going to agree with Mayor Hammond that then this council needs to move to put some kind of assessment on the tax and let the people decide whether they want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a home that what I'm seeing very few people enter into. But that being said, regardless of that, our agreement is that we upkeep those structural things. In my opinion, this is from the information I'm given, I think this is a result of our negligence, and if that is the case, then in my opinion, we're responsible to fix this. But and I would ask also, in kind and not in an official matter, would kindly ask Mr. Robeck and those in the Historical Society, if there's other damage like that, they need to bring it to the council pretty quickly, because we need to get those things off the docket and not have any more of those issues. They need to be done. We don't need to be getting any issues where this is damaged, and as far as I know, this is the last of it. And so I think we need to fulfill our obligation and move on.
Well, we're preparing to move forward with the removal of wallpaper and the repair to the walls and the repainting of all the trim and everything downstairs at our cost. So as soon as those ceilings are in good condition, we can start with the rest of the work, and we intend to move forward.
Yeah.
Do you know where that will come from, and as far as the budget?
Well, there's not a budget item here, as far as my understanding, you're just going to have to, this would have to be an expenditure out of the general fund.
I was explained that reallocation from general funds, and that it's going to the McQueen House is how to word it.
And it would be a reimbursement after they cover it.
So they're gonna pay it, and then we're gonna reimburse them.
That's the way it's set up, yes.
We're relatively confident that the majority, if not all of this $4,800 or $4,900 is a result of our inaction on part of repairing the roof in a timely fashion. Is that a fair assessment?
As I said before, we based our bids on the amount of damage caused. The living room and the parlor for certain were direct results of the failure of the roof over the parlor bay window. The kitchen ceiling is quite extensively damaged and peeling because the humidity levels in the home were very, very high, and we ran dehumidifiers for an extended period of time there. There were several months of dehumidifier all day, every day, and when you dry something back out that's been that wet, you're going to have problems. So, you know, and as I said, in honesty, I can't say the moisture did all the damage to the kitchen ceiling, but it certainly didn't help it any.
Any other thoughts from council?
I move that we approve the reimbursement of the Historical Society for repairs approved at the March 4th meeting, and we authorize the reallocation of $4,800 in general funds to McQueen House Building and Grounds account 101-262.000.931.000 for a total amount of $4,900.
Second. Motion by Lambert, second by Grass, for the reimbursement for the Queen House. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is possible amendment to the Perry City Council Rules of Procedures. You guys should have gotten part of that in your packet that deals with this item. And we look for council's approval.
Just a question for clarification on the council committees. I'm making the assumption, if I understand this correctly, that a typical 3-member committee would have to have written minutes of some sort, but would not be required to have a voice recording on file. Is that correct?
Yes.
I move that the following amendments to the Perry City Council Rules of Procedure be adopted as presented by the mayor.
Second.
Moved by Galloway, second by Porter, for the amendment of the City Council rules. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to our next item of discussion, which is possible reading of the zoning ordinance amendment number 352, re-signs. What is council's pleasure?
I will start. If I run out of steam, I'll ask for somebody to take over. How's that?
Yeah, I was hoping you'd make that motion.
I move the zoning ordinance amendment number 352 regarding signs, and which reads as follows: be placed on the next agenda for possible adoption. The City of Perry ordains Section 13.12 sign regulations applicable to all districts is amended, and below cited section shall be inserted as follows. Section 13.12 sign regulations applicable to all districts. A, it shall be unlawful for any person to erect, place, maintain, or continue to use of a sign upon any lands in the city except in accordance with the provisions of this ordinance. Any sign that is not expressly allowed under an applicable provision of this ordinance is prohibited. B, permit. Unless otherwise provided by this ordinance, no sign shall be installed or utilized until and unless the city has issued a sign permit for it. The following shall be submitted to the zoning administrator prior to the issuance of a sign permit. 1, a complete sign permit application. 2, plans and specifications for the sign. 3, the payment of any required fee or fees. C, all permanent signs shall be stationary, securely anchored or fastened to the ground or a structure, and shall be designed and constructed to withstand a 90-mile-per-hour ground wind load. D, signs shall pertain only to the business or activity conducted on the premises, except for political signs and City of Perry special event signs. E, no sign shall be placed in, extend into, or obstruct clear vision of any public right-of-way. F, all signs shall be designed and constructed to be stable and capable of withstanding wind loads to avoid being blown from their intended display location. G, general setbacks. Unless a different setback is specified for a particular sign elsewhere in this ordinance, all signs must be set back at least 10 feet from the road right-of-way and 20 feet from all other property boundaries. H, no wall sign shall project above the roof line. I, landscaping. If the base portion of a freestanding sign is elevated above ground level, it should be landscaped with low-maintenance plants. Such landscaping may be placed in stone, masonry, or treated wood bases or containers to achieve a pleasant aesthetic arrangement. Such landscaping shall be reasonably maintained at all times. J, traffic hazards. No sign shall be constructed, erected, displayed, maintained, reconstructed, or located so that if it creates a traffic hazard for vehicle or pedestrian traffic. If the Shiawassee County Road Commission, State of Michigan Traffic Engineers, or the City of Perry determines that any sign is a traffic hazard, the zoning administrator shall notify the owner to remove the sign. In determining whether a sign may be causing a traffic hazard, the zoning administrator may consider, but is not limited to, the following. 1, height, area, supported structure, and distance from ground level of the sign. 2, lighting of the sign. 3, location of the sign in relation to roads. 4, drives, points of ingress and egress, parking areas, sidewalks, and other vehicular or pedestrian access ways. 5, location of the sign in relation to nearby buildings and structures. And 6, if it may, by reason of its position, shape, color, or other characteristics, interfere with, obstruct the view of, or be confused with any authorized traffic sign, signal, or device, or distracting to motorists. K, illumination. All signs for which illumination is permitted may be illuminated by a direct or indirect source of light, provided the light source is shielded in a manner so that no direct rays or glare emanating from the light source is visible from any public right-of-way or from abutting property. No direct light or significant glare from a sign shall be cast upon any property that is zoned and used for residential purposes or onto any public way so as to cause interference with traffic safety. In no case shall any sign be illuminated by spark or flame. Reflectors, lights, and other forms of illumination shall be permitted, but no sign or any part thereof shall move, nor shall illumination thereof be anything other than a steady, continuous burning bulb or light, except for informational LED signs. Illumination of the LED lighted signs must be reduced between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. when the sign is adjacent to residential properties. In no case shall any sign illumination exceed a level of illumination of 0.05 of a foot candle and a luminary brightness of 1,600 foot lamberts when measured from the nearest adjacent property line. L, maintenance. All signs should be properly maintained in good condition and reasonable repair at all times. Exposed surfaces shall be cleaned and painted if paint is required. Defective or damaged parts must be replaced in a timely fashion. The zoning administrator has the authority to order the repair or removal of sign that is unsafe as determined by the Michigan Building Code or its successor code. M, out of business establishment. If a sign advertises a business, attraction, or other enterprise or activity that is no longer operating or being offered or conducted, that sign shall be considered abandoned and the sign faces shall be removed, covered, or replaced with blank faces within 60 days after written notification from the City of Perry to the sign owner of the property where the sign is located, or other party having control over the sign. Any expense incurred by the city incidental to removal shall be paid by the sign owner of the property, or other party having control over the sign. The expenses associated with sign removal may constitute a lien upon the property to be collected in the same manner as real property taxes. Section 13.13, signs not requiring a permit. The following signs shall be permitted in any zoning district within the City of Perry without the necessity of obtaining a sign permit, subject to the requirements stated herein. A, house numbers legible from the street and nameplates, apartment, fraternal, social, and professional, identifying the occupant or address of a parcel of land and not exceeding 2 square feet in display surface area. B, for sale signs attached to vehicles. C, flags bearing the official design of a nation, state, municipality, business, institution, organization, and seasonal decorative flags. D, traffic or other municipal signs and private traffic control signs which conform to the requirements of the Michigan Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. E, park and playground signs. F, political signs subject to the following. They shall not exceed 8 square feet in total area. They shall be removed within 10 days following the election to which they pertain. 3, they shall be not placed closer than 100 feet from any polling place entrance. G, 1 temporary non-illuminated real estate sign per lot advertising the sale or lease of property or building subject to the following. 1, it shall not exceed 4 square feet in surface display area. 2, it shall be removed within 30 days after completion of the sale or lease of the property. 3, no sign shall be placed closer than 10 feet from road right-of-way. H, temporary construction signs subject to the following. 1 construction sign may be erected on the site where the work is scheduled to begin. 2, the total surface display area shall not exceed 32 square feet. The height shall not exceed 8 feet. 4, placement shall be 10 feet inside the property boundaries to which the sign pertains. 5, construction signs will not be erected until a building permit has been issued for the building or project which is subject of the proposed sign and construction activities have begun. 6, construction signs shall be removed within 15 days after the issuance of an occupancy permit for the building or structure which is the subject of the construction sign. I, trespassing, safety, discretional, caution, or announcement signs, each not to exceed 2 square feet in area. J, 1 non-illuminated sign attached to a residence announcing a home occupation or professional service not to exceed 4 square feet in surface area and attached flat against the building wall. K, garage or yard sale signs and special occasion or event signs in residential districts so long as they are displayed not more than 5 days prior to the event or the sale. They are advertising and shall be removed not more than 1 day after the event or sale. L, signs announcing the sale of produce not exceeding 6 square feet in area. Signs placed in windows so long as they do not exceed 25% of the window in which they are displayed, and signs that have been approved in conjunction with valid zoning compliance permit for any main use as detailed in the approved site plan. O, temporary sign advertising of business performing work on the premises where the sign is displayed. Sign cannot exceed 4 square feet in surface area. Sign must be removed promptly when the work has been completed. P, community special event signs not exceeding 16 square feet in total area may be permitted for a period not to exceed 30 days for any single event. No more than 5 such signs shall be permitted for any single event, and such signs shall be removed within 2 days of the end of the event. Q, 1 A-frame sign per business location, subject to the following regulations. The sign shall not exceed 8 square feet in total area with a maximum height of 4 feet. B, all sign workmanship shall be of a professional nature and maintained in good repair. C, all signs must be stable and capable of withstanding wind loads to avoid being blown from their intended display location. D, the A-frame sign shall be placed against the building, on the sidewalk, or within the landscape abutting the business. A minimum pedestrian clearance of 4 feet of unobstructed sidewalk shall be maintained per American Disabilities Act. In no case can an A-frame sign be placed on the landscape strip between the outer edge of the sidewalk and the street curb, nor in or on the planter boxes. R, pole banner signs. 1 pole banner sign per business location. Pole banner signs are not allowed in the central business district. B, the sign shall not exceed 8 square feet in total area with a maximum height of 8 feet. C, all sign workmanship shall be of a professional nature, maintained in good repair. D, all signs must be stable and capable of withstanding wind loads to avoid being blown from their intended display location. E, all signs must express a statement about the business or activity conducted on the premises. Section 1314, signs requiring a permit. The following signs shall be permitted in any zoning district within the city of Perry, pending approval from the zoning administrator. 1, on-site directional signs not exceeding 4 square feet in total area per sign and not greater than 3 feet in height, located at least 5 feet from any right-of-way line. No more than 2 directional signs per road frontage are permitted for any property or use. 2, an institutional bulletin board may be located on the premises to which the sign pertains, provided it does not exceed 50 square feet in surface display area. 3, lawful non-conforming signs. The regulations for lawful non-conforming signs are contained in section 4.06 of this ordinance. B, in addition to the signs permitted in section 1314A, the following signs shall be permitted in all residential districts within the city of Perry pending approval from the zoning administrator. One entrance way sign of up to 32 square feet in total area and no more than 8 feet in height is permitted at major entry points to residential developments. The sign may be illuminated. The sign may contain only the name of the subdivision or development and developer. 2, one sign may be placed flat against the main building announcing the identification of an apartment development, and such sign shall not exceed 12 square feet in surface display area. Such a sign may be illuminated provided that the source of the light is not visible beyond the property lines of the parcel upon which it is located. 3, one internally illuminated monument sign of up to 32 square feet in total and no more than 8 feet in height is permitted for places of religious worship, schools, and parks. C, the addition to signs permitted in section 1314A, the following signs shall be permitted in the central business district within the city of Perry, pending approval from the zoning administrator. One projecting sign of up to 16 square feet per business location. 2, one wall sign per business location not exceeding 10% of the building face to which it is attached. The wall sign allotment may be placed on any building face. Awning signs shall be considered as part of the wall sign allotment. D, in addition to the signs permitted in section 1314A, the following signs shall be permitted in the commercial and mixed-use districts within the city of Perry pending approval of the zoning administrator. 1, freestanding signs. 2, on-site and advertising signs per business not exceeding 140 square feet in surface area. A commercial business shall be permitted an additional freestanding sign for every 50 feet of road frontage over 100 feet of road frontage on the property with a maximum of 4 signs per business. B, freestanding signs shall be located in the front yard with the leading edge of the sign set back at least 10 feet from the right-of-way line. C, the bottom of freestanding signs shall be not less than 6 feet in height from ground level whenever location of a sign to the road may create a traffic hazard by obstructing clear view, and the top of the sign shall not be no higher than 30 feet from the ground. 2, wall and marquee signs. One wall or marquee sign should be permitted per building, not exceeding 15% of the building face to which it is attached. B, wall signs shall be placed flat against the main building or parallel to the main building on a canopy and may only face public streets or parking areas which are part of the development. C, wall and marquee signs shall not project above the roof line or cornice. 3, projecting signs. One projecting sign shall be permitted per building with a surface display area not exceeding 1.5 square feet for each linear foot of building frontage with a maximum of 50 square feet. Projecting signs shall be attached directly to a building by means of building mounts or hung from a mast arm. These support members may also include decorative buttresses, but external bracing such as guy wires and metal framework shall be prohibited. Signs must project 90-degree angle to the building surface to which they are attached. Projecting signs shall not project beyond the minimum required setback line or into or over street right-of-way. The minimum clearance of a projecting sign over a sidewalk shall be 9 feet. Electronic signs may be freestanding, wall, or projecting signs. These signs shall adhere to the surface display area and setback requirements described in their respective categories above, section 1314D, subsections 1, 2, and 3. Illumination requirement shall conform to section 1312K. 5, service station signs. Gasoline service stations shall be permitted one double-sided freestanding sign indicating only the price and grade of fuel, gasoline, and as shown on the pumps. Neither side shall exceed 16 square feet in surface display area. B, the sign shall be permanently attached to the support pole of the freestanding sign. Service station signs shall be attached with the bottom of the sign no lower than 6 feet from the ground level. Parking lot signs. One directional sign at each point of ingress or egress shall be permitted. which may bear the sponsor's ad, name or trademark, and enterprise it is intending to serve, and directions for movement. Reference section 1314A2 for size and height requirements. Individual letter signs. Signs consisting of freestanding individual letters or numbers identifying the business shall be permitted, provided the letters do not exceed 2 feet above the roof line or cornice line of the building, and that the letters do not exceed 2 feet in height. E, signs shall be permitted in the natural features overlay respective to the underlying zoning district. F, in addition to the signs permitted in section 1314A, the following signs shall be permitted in the mobile home park district within the city of Perry pending approval from the zoning administrator. 1, residential entranceway signs not exceeding 32 square feet are permitted for residential developments. One sign for each major public street frontage may be provided. Signs shall not exceed 8 feet in height. 2, internally illuminated monument signs of up to 24 square feet for institutional uses such as places of religious worship, schools, and parks. Signs shall not exceed 8 feet in height. E, in addition to the signs permitted in section 1314A, the following signs shall be permitted in the industrial districts of the city of Perry, pending approval from the zoning administrator. Signs shall pertain exclusively to the business occupying the property. 1 freestanding sign identifying an industrial complex located at the entrance not exceeding 100 square feet in surface display area. Signs may be illuminated subject to section 1312K. 1 monument sign is permitted per property of up to 50 square feet. Signs shall be set back from the street right of way a minimum of 10 feet and from side property lines a minimum of 10 feet. Signs shall not project above a roof line or cornice line. PUD signs, only signs approved by the Planning Commission and City Council and authorize a planned unit development shall be allowed. Section 1315, signs prohibited. The following types of signs are expressly prohibited. 1, any sign that has flashing, intermittent, or blinking lights or strobes except for informational LED signs. 2, signs emanating or resembling official, traffic, or governmental signs or signals. 3, abandoned signs shall be removed within 60 days of the cessation of the business use or activity. 4, a rotating or moving sign in which the sign itself or any portion of the sign moves in a revolving or similar manner, excluding barbershop poles, which are permitted. 5, vehicle signs not used during the normal course of lawful business that are parked or located for primary purpose of displaying the advertisement. 6, Snipe signs, a sign which is attached to trees, poles, fences, wire frames, or other objects, and the advertising matter appearing thereon is not applicable to the present use or activity of the premises upon which the sign is located. 7, any sign that obstructs free access to or egress from a required door, window, fire escape, or other required exit from a building or structure. 8, any sign that makes use of the words stop, look, danger, or other words, phrase, symbols, or characters in such a manner as to interfere with, mislead, or confuse drivers or any other sign constituting a driving hazard. 9, roof signs. 10, signs on street furniture such as benches and trash receptacles, not including commemorative plaques or engravings which are not larger than 1/2 square foot. 11, on-premises signs unless expressly permitted in this ordinance. 12, any sign not expressly permitted by this ordinance. And 13, billboards. No business vehicle which in the opinion of the zoning administrator has the intended function of acting as a sign shall be parked in any area abutting the road. Section 1316, signs exempted. The following signs shall be exempt from provisions of this chapter: governmental signs, signs of essential services, historical markers, memorial signs, or tablets.
Let's stand on there. Moved by Lambert, need a second.
Second.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's your first reading. All right, that's pretty good. I should have posed for Larry to read that again.
All you gotta do is make the amendment, and then he has to read it all over again.
I'm gonna propose an amendment here.
And then someone else will read it.
That's a good job, man. Good job, Larry. That's a lot of reading. All right, well, that takes us to our next item, which is to set a public hearing for grant funding from the USDA. And so, Devin, do you have some more information about this for us?
Yes, if you recall, the chief has been talking about that he is getting the new vests, and he is also looking into, again, staying his rotation of rotating his vehicles out. Those 2 items are going to be placed on this grant. Also, John has equipment that broke down, a tractor for his plowing, and it'll do other functions. They're also applying this tractor that John is looking towards this grant. This grant is up to $50,000, and they only pay 35% of the item that you are submitting. And so the USDA, one of the requirements is that it must go through a public hearing process. So I'm asking council tonight to formally call a public hearing. This has to be published 10 days prior to the next meeting, and I can accommodate that with the Argus. When we have the public hearing you haven't made the motion, on the April 1st, 2 things will happen. Our typical public hearing will allow anybody to have comment, and afterwards my plan is to have a resolution with a little bit more details so that you can, you're not approving funds, but you're promising you're supporting that we would find the funds if they were approved for these items. Is that fair? Any questions?
I move that we set a public hearing for the USDA Department of Agriculture Rural Development Grant.
Moved by Porter, second by Grass. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the discussion of map for 2021 Ross DeLue Perry Pride Award. Those of you that have been on council for a little while probably have seen these. If not, you've probably heard about them. You should have had a map in your agenda packets that kind of outlays some of that. And what we're looking to do is set the part, what we're going to do going forward. And then there's also a little bit of a couple papers there that kind of describes what it is that we should be doing or what we're looking for. Does that make sense? And so, as we spoke some about this, the suggestion would be that with 2 open council seats that we could just go ahead and set the first 4. And that way it gives time for any new council that comes in. We could just set May, whatever you guys so want to do. So.
I think we should set the boundaries and then, well.
Yeah, the boundaries are kind of set, just a matter of who's gonna.
Right, well, I was gonna say is like, we shouldn't do our own neighborhood.
Sure.
That's part of the rules. You're not supposed
So
to do your own.
if let's say someone from Larry's neighborhood gets appointed to council and that's the only section open, we would be breaking our own rules, so we'd have to redo the boundaries.
It
Or
can always
redo
be
the sections.
changed. This is internal. Yeah,
So.
I wouldn't be too concerned about that. You're right, though. It may happen. So March is pretty much done as a council, so you have April. Usually in general, you'll communicate with Dory. You start looking in April so that at the May meeting, we try for the 1st. Sometimes that doesn't work, then sometimes the 2nd. And the resident gets invited and congratulated on what's going on. So again, you could put this to the April meeting last year, and okay, we're gonna blame everything on COVID. There wasn't a follow-up of participation. It was kind of confusing, and the mayor kind of wrapped it up and gave awards through all the months that council didn't have the time to get to. All I say is if you just do May for right now, because you want to leave it open for, Porter makes a good point of who may be appointed for other sections, that at least somebody start at this meeting with May to allow you to have that time and pick both.
The old map that's here that says like last year's, I would assume it is.
Mhm.
We're gonna keep those sections, so those would be the months that we're going to,
Not necessarily, you can
not
change,
necessarily, we can
you
move
can
those
change your
around.
months, you can change your person.
I would just, for ease, for sake of ease, just scratch out the council members who aren't on here any longer and just,
As
Change
long
the
as
names.
nobody lives in those sections, yeah, I guess that doesn't matter.
I'll take August where Cottrell was, if that's acceptable to council.
Okay.
I can do May.
Did you make, okay.
you wanna keep where you were, Mindy, or you wanna move over to where?
It doesn't matter to me.
I got pencil, I
Just to
just
make-
gotta know.
Just to make sure we've got someone for May.
Okay. Would you like it where it was grass, or do you wanna move where your name was? So would you like it to the left corner or the middle bottom?
Well, I like where I was, but I wanna make sure
You can still do
someone's
that.
in May.
I can put
so-
May, I can put May Galbavy over there, that's fine.
What'd you say? Bob?
Change it to May. From October, just scratch out the October and change it to May.
Okay,
I'm all about simple today.
So change the date, not the location.
May Galbavy. That's where you were,
Okay,
and I'm just putting the month different.
okay.
And this will give it to Dory, and she'll make this all beautiful and get it back out to you. And if there is anything that I misinterpreted, just talk to her about it. This doesn't go out to the public, this is for you guys
Right.
to have something to reference to.
I can do July, and I can stay where Terry Woods was, it's fine.
Okay?
I can do June and just put me in where Elliot was.
So I'll make a note of what you have said. We'll get through May, and as we're appointed, if we find we're running into what you're talking about, we'll just bring this back and have another discussion. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, okay. Is it this time that any other business that may come before council is taken up? At this time, we have our second round of public comment. If anybody from the public would like to make a comment, we have a second opportunity of a time limit of 3 minutes. Any public comment? Yeah,
Thank
Mr.
you all
Brooks.
so much for supporting the Queen House, we appreciate it very much and the hard work y'all are doing.
Sure.
You know, it's a tough time for y'all being short on council members and with COVID and everything, but we appreciate your help very much.
Yep. Very good. Any other comments from the public? Do we have anybody online that would like to speak to council, Devin?
Is anybody online would like to speak? Please raise your hand or take your audio off. No.
Okay. Any other business that may come before council? I believe, Bob, we
I
have
have-
the lid. Yes.
I have two things.
Go ahead.
First thing, it kind of reflects to, or goes with Billy's reimbursement of the drywall repair or whatever. I have a concern, or I woke up actually with this concern. I know it's an old house and there may be lead, and you brought it up at the last meeting.
That's correct.
So, I did a lot of research on lead, got some information. Two things we can hire someone, they can do an assessment, inspection and assessment. I have 2 estimates for those. But in my investigation, I talked to several people. The thing that most pertain to the Queen House is, one, no one's living there, so it's not a residence. And it's not gonna be a child care center, right? You're not gonna turn it into a daycare center.
Not that we know.
Okay. So
We will
those
have
two,
a lot of small children there. We hope to have the the elementary schools to start bringing back their day trip programs over to the McQueen House once we're back open here.
Because the biggest point of that, those two things have a big requirement. If it's a residence or has a child care center, children under 6 cannot have more than 6 hours in a facility, any building that has lead or potential of lead. So we, as a council, we need to consider what liability we may have as a city to allow children in the building more than 6 hours at a time, or a week, actually, sorry. Or we can rest assured and know exactly what we're dealing with and pay for assessment inspection. As I researched this, at first I was going towards the assessment and inspection. I'm backing away from that personally a little bit, just because I know there's going to be children there, but not continuously, the same child every day for 6 hours. We could put some sort of restrictions as a city-owned property that you can't have the same child can't be there for more than 6 hours a week. Those kinds of things, or we can hire someone to do the assessment and testing.
How much was the assessment testing you ran into, Bob?
I have 2 people that gave me actual prices. One was $1,500 and the other guy was $1,200. And then I had one for $4,800, so I threw that one away.
And that was just testing and assessment?
Testing and assessment. They give you a written proposal or what they find. So, it's not, we can't really do anything right now tonight. I just wanted to bring it up in front of council, so we're aware of it. Lead is a very hot topic right now, and when you brought it up last meeting, it was not that it kept me awake, but I did wake up and think about this and say, what responsibilities do we have as residents, as city council, and owners of the house? So that's my information I can give to the council on that. I have one other thing that I wanted to bring up to regard to something else that came up about the grant. I did reach out to a couple people who write grants. I did some research on that. There are companies available to do writing grants. They average anywhere from $30 to $150 an hour, depending on the company. They will do, this person I talked to, who's basically local, other side of Lansing, he would do it all start to finish. He'll manage it. So if we get the grant, he'll manage all the requirements that may need for reporting or record keeping, anything like that. Or we can, since we already started doing grant writing in-house in the city, he will look at it and tweak them so all the right proper keywords are in the grant proposal or application. So it should increase your chances of getting the grant. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, but for $30 or $60 or $100, if it increases your chances by 50%, that may be money well spent. Those are my 2 new business things for council.
So do you want them on the agenda for?
I think we should put them both on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay. Is it Devin? For the items for the agenda?
Okay, I've got, if you're all done, Bob, I've got one item I referenced it briefly when I gave the committee report. I'd just like to toss out for any council input the idea of potentially using as a second or alternate avenue of communication to the residents is to acquire or cordon a small portion of the one of the bulletin boards at Carl's that would be the label for City of Perry News, not with big long letters, but for example, the 2 postings that we have available, information on our website that people that may not know normally to go to the website, they might see them there. The issue of our town hall meetings as they occur, just quick blurbs of information. I have spoken to the manager at Carl's, made no commitment, but got his resounding support to work with us if we decide that we want to do something like that. That we, either as council people or the staff, would have to, see to it that something was posted there, and when it expired, taken down. But I thought it might be a way to get a lot of traffic past there. Those bulletin boards used to be full of all kinds of for sale and help wanted signs, and now there's a fair amount of real estate there that we could take advantage of a small portion if we decide that we want to pursue that. Any thoughts?
I think it's a good idea, Larry. I think you get a lot of traffic there.
I think it's a great idea.
I think the mayor has even more thoughts to it.
Pardon?
I think the mayor has even more thoughts to it.
Okay.
Is that was discussion
I
on
would
that?
proceed without having a conversation with Sue certainly first.
The biggest thing is she would like it enclosed, is all I wanted to add. I'm not trying to trump any kind of conversation, Larry. I just want to stress that, and I would have to agree because working at IGA for many, many years and different things like that, you never know if your stuff will stay up on the bulletin board or whether people write on it or do anything. So if she doesn't mention to it, ask her about that, if you're going to bring that up.
Yeah, I will.
Because you can get them very reasonable if Charles is willing to do that.
I'll pursue it with the mayor then when she gets back and I have time to chat with her and give you an update in the future. Thank you.
Sounds good. Any other items of business to come before council? All right, council discussion and observations. Everybody got any observations or comments? All right, any other items for agenda items for next meeting?
I gave you mine too.
Okay, if not, the time is 8:06 and the meeting is adjourned.